חותנו של מר ז'ולס לסנר, בוריס גורלין, הכיר את הרבי בצרפת במהלך שנות ה-30. ב-1977 מר לסנר נלווה לחמיו ליחידות עם הרבי.
The Rebbe took the lead, and he looked at my father-in-law Boris, and he says, Boris, we can speak in Russian, we can speak in French, but your son-in-law doesn't understand those languages. We could speak in Yiddish, but I don't think you ever learned Yiddish, so we'll just have to speak in English. And then we proceeded to speak in English. Of course, Boris he knew from way back and was all excited, and they exchanged some things about way back. And the next thing is, how is your daughter doing, Boris, my wife? He knew about her being a teacher in Bogota, Colombia, which amazed me. He knew that she was in education, Jewish education here in New York. And went down the line just repeating a lot of things. He then proceeded to ask us about what goes on the Upper East Side. And the first thing he asked about was, what are you people doing for the Jewish women on the Upper East Side? This is 1977. There weren't many shiurim in those days. I might say today there certainly are 4 women. And we didn't have an answer. Well, don't you have a program at your synagogue? And well, what do you do? Tell me about Shabbos in your synagogue. He knew the rabbi at the time, who was a Frenchman, and he knew him from France, Rabbi Langer. And he says, how does your service go in the morning? We told him that we daven, we read the Torah, and then the rabbi gives a sermon. He then wanted to know, once again, what are you doing for the women? How many mikvahs do you have on the East Side? We told him we didn't have one, that it's been a bit difficult. There are some people on the East Side didn't feel there was a need for one on the Upper East Side. He asked me, do the women use mikvahs? I answered yes. Certainly, the women we know use mikvahs, but they go to the West Side or they go up to Washington Heights. Some cases go to the Lower East Side. But there was constant talk about the women, his interest, and this was amazing. He then wanted to know about the schools that our children went to and what kind of training they're getting, and we told him where our kids went to school, and he seemed to be pleased with that. And they were going to the Ramah school at the time, and he knew about that. He seemed to know anything we had to say about what was going on. It seems he had advanced information on that, and this was really impressive. And he felt that there should be there's so much to be done for the women. And again, it was a whole exercise on what are you men on the Upper East Side doing for your Jewish women. We were extremely impressed. To tell you the truth, we never got to ask about what we came there for. Until the end, he says, what did you come here for? And so Boris says, well, to see you, Rebbe. It's been so many years since we chatted. It seems that he was in touch with my father-in-law during World War II. I believe the Rebbe worked at the Brooklyn Navy Yard at the time, or was doing some research there, or was consulting. And my father-in-law had some business also involved in the war effort. And so they did chat from time to time. They'd consulted on things. This is something I had heard from my father-in-law. About 45 minutes later, we were feeling a little uncomfortable taking so much of his time, and he just wanted to keep talking about what are you doing for the women. So for us, this was, not that it was revolutionary, but it was extremely impressive. Here was a modern gentleman wanting to know, this image of a Hasidic Rebbe asking about women.